Alright, what's up guys? I am so excited today to be bringing you my Toon deck. I've been working on this deck on Yugioh Pro for so long, ever since they announced all the new Toons that have come out of this new set, Toon Chaos. I just opened a case if you have seen that video. But very excited about this deck. I love Toons. It's one of my favorite decks just overall. It has such a fun playstyle. It has so much protection. Has the best search card in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! It can attack directly. The artwork is fantastic. Everything about the deck is so cool. And the deck finally got some new support. Today we're playing a going second version of the deck. I just think the going second version, from what I've tested, it just happens to be just a little bit better. A lot of the Toon cards, I swear to you, just have going second effects. There's a lot of the better Toon cards that are now searchable, stuff like Comic Hand, stuff like Mimi Cat, are actually going second cards, and I'll show you more as we go along, but a lot of the Toon cards are actually just very going second focused. There's really only a few that are beneficial for going first, but the majority actually benefit from going second. But anyway, let's get started. We have to start 3 copies of the all new Toon Blackluster Soldier, which one of them, you can't see it in the sleeve there, but one of them is actually the new rarity, which is the collector's rarity. We were lucky enough to pull one of these, but it looks insane. I don't know if you can really see it. It's like an ultimate rare mixed with a secret rare. It looks absolutely amazing. We pulled one of those. I plan to get 3 eventually. But yeah, it looks incredible without the sleeve. But this card basically, what it allows you to do is it's basically like a ritual summon without the ritual. So basically you can send up to the level 8 or higher Toons on your field or from your hand to special summon this card. That is one of the ways that you can special summon it. But the Toon deck has basically so many cards that summon, ignoring summoning conditions, that you will sometimes summon it that way, but most of the time you'll actually summon it through other means. You'll just summon it off of other cards like Toon Dark Magician or Toon Red Eye, stuff like that. But that is one of the effects, and then its second effect is, number one, this card can attack directly. Like, all Toons can attack directly if your opponent controls no Toon monsters. And then on top of that, this card actually is one of the few Toons, this and Toon Dark Magician Girl are one of the very few Toons that can actually attack the turn that it is summoned, which is almost non-existent for Toons. So this can help you sort of OTK, and that has another effect, which is if you don't attack, you can banish a card on the field, and I think it's card now, and yeah, you can banish a card on the field. So it's not just monster like the Blackluster Soldier Envoy. It actually is just a card. But yeah, very good support, and of course this is extraordinarily searchable, very easy to summon. Then we play 1 copy of Toon Ancient Gear Golem. The reason we play this is because we need a level 8, because sometimes you have this in your hand, so you can search out Toon Ancient Gear Golem and then tribute this out of your hand and special summon the Toon Blackluster Soldier. That's the only reason we're really playing this. You can also play Blue Eyes, Toon Blue Eyes, but unfortunately Toon Blue Eyes actually got printed super early, got printed in Magic Ruler, so the truth is Toon Blue Eyes is actually, the effect is actually very bad. You have to pay life points just to attack. You have to, if a Toon rolls not on the field, it gets destroyed. All of the early Toons are actually not that great. They have so many restrictions. So this card is just better. Plus, this has piercing if you did want to attack a monster instead of directly, although most of the time you're going to attack directly. But that's that. Then we play 3 copies of Toon Red Eyes. This card is just sick, basically because it allows you to, same thing as always, attack directly, but you can actually, once per turn, special summon a Toon from your hand, ignoring summoning conditions. It's so key that it's ignoring summoning conditions, because you can even summon the Blackluster Soldier, you can summon the Ancient Gear Golem, you can summon any of them because it ignores summoning conditions. I mean, it's just insane. A lot of the cards actually in Toons ignore summoning conditions. Then we play 2 copies of the Black Stone of Legend. This card basically allows you, and you're probably saying, why are you playing that in a Toon deck? This card actually allows you to tribute itself and then special summon Toon Red Eyes, and then you can basically special summon anything in your hand that is a Toon. So it's actually very useful for that. So that is the Black Stone of Legend. Then we play, and also it lets you, I think it lets you return this to your hand and then shuffle a Red Eyes back, but it's very useful. Sometimes that actually comes up, but most of the time you're just using it for the special summoning. Then we play 2 copies of Toon Dark Magician. This card is another insane one. If you just discard a Toon card, it doesn't matter, it's Toon or Manga Ryuran, but it's going to be a Toon, because nobody really plays Manga Ryuran. But basically you can discard a Toon card, and then you can special summon a Toon from your deck. ignoring summoning conditions, which is already a pretty crazy effect. Or you can add a Toon card from your deck to your hand, which is also pretty disgusting. So both effects are really good. Play one of the new card, which is Toon Harpy. Toon Harpy Lady, basically, if you have Toon World, you can special summon it for free, and then if you control another Toon monster, you can pop a spell and trap card, and then beyond that, it has the regular Toon effects, which is that it can attack directly, stuff like that. Then, for more sort of going second cards, we play, I was about to say Toon Eater of Millions, and then just regular Eater of Millions. So what this card basically does is it lets you banish cards from your hand or extra deck just basically banish them face down, and then this card gains 100 attack for each card banished, and it has to, for each card that is banished face down, and you have to banish at least 5 to summon it. But basically, when this battles an opponent's monster, it automatically, at the start of the damage, banishes your opponent's monster face down. Awesome effect. Really cool effect. Just because it gets rid of your opponent's monster, basically for free. It's very good. Like I said, it's very good for going second. Then we play 3 copies of Psyframe Gear Gamma. This is one of the better hand traps available, again, for going second, because you can really interrupt your opponent's plays. You can interrupt stuff like Adamanticators, because it's even better than Effect Veiler, because not only do you negate their effect, but you also destroy their monster. So now they might not have a rock, and because they don't have a rock, they might not be able to special summon the next card. I forget her name, but basically the female one. And then the Psyframe driver that you're going to special summon. And these are really good in general, because a lot of the combo starters for Toons are actually spells. And there's spells that you can stop with Ash Blossom. So, like, let's say you activate Toon Bookmark, you have no monsters on the field, your opponent activates Ash Blossom in response to your Toon Bookmark, and you can Psyframe Gear Gamma because you have no cards on field, or, like, basically all of your starter cards are all spells and trap cards. So you can actually, and one of the only, like this, for example, is also a starter card, but it's a monster, so you tribute it off the field for cost, so you still won't control monsters. You almost never control monsters when you're getting all of your stuff together, which is really cool. So basically, yeah, you can always, this card is almost always live, and it's always live during your opponent's turn, of course. But basically, yeah, you activate it, you get to special summon a copy of Driver, and then you can go into synchro plays, or you could just tribute them and summon Toons, like the bigger Toons. But yeah, that's basically it for those. Now, for the spells, we play 3 copies of the all-new Toon Bookmark. This card is so cool. Basically, it allows you to add any card that has Toon World in its text. And don't forget, this card is actually searchable. So, with all the cards that have Toon in their name, basically every Toon card, you're playing at 6. Like, it's almost insane. If you play something at 3, you're actually playing it at 6, because you have the greatest search card of all time, Toon Table of Contents to search it. But basically what this card allows you to do is, like I said, add any card that says Toon World in its text, which is really good because it allows you to add cards like Toon Kingdom. It's basically like an extra terraforming for Toon Kingdom. It allows you to add something like Comic Hand. This actually doesn't have Toon in the name, so you couldn't search it with Toon Table of Contents before, but now you can actually search Comic Hand with this card. And then you have cards like Mimicat. Again, you can search them now. It makes it significantly easier. But yeah, Toon Bookmark. Amazing, amazing card. And then on top of that, actually has a protection effect, which is when your Toon World would be destroyed by a card effect, you can banish this card out of the graveyard and then basically protect it for free. Which is, again, very, very useful. Then we've got another all-new card, Toon Page Flip. This card is just insane, right? So, if you control Toon World, you can reveal any 3 Toon monsters. Your opponent picks one of them randomly, and then you special summon it, ignoring summoning conditions. And then the rest go back into your deck. But that is just crazy. Because you can basically, you're picking, so you're usually going to pick the Blackluster Soldier, the Red Eyes, and the Dark Magician, and your opponent has to pick one of them. And no matter what they pick, it's going to be a good one for you anyway. This is just an amazing play starter. And again, it's a spell card, so you can just Gamma if they ask you, which is really, really useful. But yeah, this one's very, very, very good. Beyond that, yeah, and like I said, this is another searchable card, so it doesn't matter. Every card you basically play at 3, you're actually playing at 6. So it's very, very consistent. And of course, it does ignore summoning conditions. Alright, then we've got our field spell, Toon Kingdom. It always counts as Toon World, so that right there is already extraordinarily useful. It's actually a $50 rare of, which is just insane, but it's going to get reprinted in a couple weeks, guys. Don't don't worry too much about it. But basically, when you activate this, you banish 3 cards face down, which is actually going to help our Eater of Millions by beefing them up a little bit. But yeah, you banish 3 cards when you activate it. It doesn't matter. Everything's searchable, and you're playing at a huge quantity, so it doesn't matter that you banish stuff. And then on top of that, like I said, it becomes Toon World. And your opponent cannot target Toon cards, which is already good because you can get like Effect Veiler, you can get Impermanence, you can get like stuff like that can't happen, which is already good. But on top of that, when a Toon monster would be destroyed by battle or by card effect, you can banish a card off the top of your deck face down instead. So it offers like so much protection. It's so much better than Toon World, and it's extremely searchable, which is always great. Next we play 3, mandatory 3, Toon Table of Contents. This is the absolute single best searcher in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! It searches any Toon card. It's not once per turn, and it can search itself if you want to deck thin, which is just it's just bananas. It really is insane. The best searcher in all of Yu-Gi-Oh! And on top of that, yeah, it searches all these new cards, which is terrific. And even like the cards that you can search, like Comic Hand, it doesn't matter because you just search the new card, the bookmark, and then you can search Toon Table of Contents, which is extraordinarily useful. We played 2 copies of Comic Hand. This I didn't even use. I think I used to play 1 copy and kind of hard draw it. It was a little bit of a not that great card, but like I said, this is a going second card, and it wasn't searchable before, but now it is very, very searchable. Basically, I have how many copies of that? I have basically 8 copies of this in my deck because I have Toon Table of Contents, I have Bookmark, and I have this, so I can always get to this card. You just loop. You just basically go through 3 cards to get to this card. And then once you get to this card, what it does is basically if you control Toon World, it's all you have to control. You can, it's like Snatch Steal. You target one of your opponent's monsters and you take it for your own and you equip it to this card. That monster becomes a Toon monster. And on top of that, if your opponent controls what are they called? No Toon monsters, that monster can actually attack directly. So you can steal stuff like Borreload, Appaloosa, a Borreload, Savage Dragon. If you steal it, if you get rid of the negate, you can steal some pretty disgusting cards and then use them against your opponent, and they can attack directly that same turn. And that's what I mean. This is a very going second card. And the amazing thing is this card's not even once per turn, so you can actually activate 3 of these and take 3 monsters. It's like mind. What is it called? It's like Mind Control, but a million times better. Then we play 1 copy of Mimikat. This is another just card that's just disgusting. Basically, what it allows you to do is when you have Toon World on the field and a Toon monster, you can look in your opponent's graveyard. If you see a spell or trap that you like, you set it down to your side of the field, or if you see a monster that you like, you special summon it to your side of the field. So either way, you can grab some really good blowout cards. And again, this is only useful going second. Like, there's no point for this card going first. It does nothing. But going second, this card is very good. That's what I'm saying. You can get free monsters and OTK. Then we've got Set Rotation. The reason we play Set Rotation is because it's very important that we get to that Toon World. Like a lot of these cards rely on Toon World. We got to get to Toon World. It's inexcusable to not have it, and it's very searchable. It is beyond searchable. Like at this point, we're playing like almost too many copies of it. It seems, but I'm telling you, this deck just does not operate without the Toon. Like you cannot do anything without it. That's why it's so important that we get to it, and we have to play a lot of cards that. Since we're going second, like if this gets negated, we have another way to get to Toon World. We have to have multiple ways in our hand to get to Toon World, because sometimes one of them will be interrupted, and we have to have a contingency plan. So we have the Set Rotation, that'll search Toon World. 1 Terraforming. Set Rotation, we have to play another field spell, which just happens to be Mystic Mine. The only reason I'm playing this is because like I said, it is going second, and we have to play an extra one for the Set Rotation. So we play the Mystic Mine. Mystic Mine is one of the best going second cards of all time. You drop it against something like Adamanticators, they can't do anything. They have to scoop up that game. You get a free win. Alright, so that's those. Then we play 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance. Really good draw card for this deck. One of which, again, is that new rarity, the Collector's Rare. But yeah, definitely 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance. This card is very good for the deck. We have no other draw cards at all in our extra deck. Doesn't matter all that much to us. It almost doesn't matter at all. You don't want to play Link Monsters and Toons because you don't want to get rid of your Toons. A lot of your effects rely on you controlling those Toon monsters, so you do not want to get rid of your Toon cards. So you want to keep them on the field as much as possible. You don't, and a lot of them are like, they have soft once per turn effects, so you can just, Like, let's say you survive a turn, you can use Toon Dark Magician the next turn, you can use Toon Red Eyes the following turn, you can use Toon Black Luster Soldier the next turn. You can use them again and again. You do not want to get rid of your Toons. You do not want to link them away for, like, I don't know, what are you going to make? Like an Appaloosa for what? Like, it's, you know, you get way more out of the engine by actually sticking with the monsters you have. So our extra deck is almost irrelevant. So we play this. It's a best draw card available, and it stops us from drawing, but we don't draw. Other than that, we just search. Play 3 copies of Super Poly to rip the meta, and I'll show you all of the different Super Poly targets that we're playing, but basically we have something for everybody. No one is safe. But if anything, if you're playing against a deck that doesn't use anything, you just side it out. 1 Instant Fusion. Again, we have so much extra deck space that it doesn't even matter. We can devote 1 card that's at 1 on the ban list to multiple cards in our extra deck because it doesn't even matter. It really doesn't. It doesn't even play a factor that this card is at 1, because if we draw it, we're still going to be able to usually use it. 1 copy of an awesome card, Reasoning. All of our levels in the deck are virtually all different, which is really useful because it can basically throw off your opponent. We have a ton of different levels and a ton of monsters that cannot be normal summoned or set. So you're going to be kind of pitching things into the graveyard for free. And on top of that, eventually it'll get to a really weird monster level like 7 or 4 or something like that. And you'll basically get like a free summon out of this every single time. And if you hit like a Blackstone of Legend, it can help get into the Red Eyes and then start your combos. And then we play just 2 trap cards, 1 copy of Toon Briefcase. Like I said, this is a going second deck, but I like having this just in case I'm forced to go first. But Toon Briefcase, basically, if your opponent special summons a monster, non-targeting, you can shuffle that monster back into the deck, which is just incredible. And all you have to do is control a Toon monster. You don't have to even control Toon World. But basically, yeah, if they summon anything, you just shuffle it, non-targeting, right back into the deck. It's really, really good removal. And then we've got the Toon Terror, which this is basically like a counter trap for Toons. But remember, you don't have to play too many of these, because this is searchable 15 different ways. I swear to you, it is searchable with the bookmark. It is searchable with contents. It is searchable so many different ways. If you're playing 1 copy, you're actually playing 7 copies. This is the most consistent deck of all time. But you know, it's consistency and explosiveness are 2 different things, but it is very consistent because you can get to anything at any time. Alright, next we've got the extra. We play 1 copy of Red Eyes, Flare Metal Dragon. This card is essentially just a rank 7 play. Sometimes your opponent has very little life points. You have 2 level 7s like the Toon Dark Magician and Toon Red Eyes. So you just throw a Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon onto the field, and let's say they have like 800 life points, they basically lost because they activate 2 effects. You know, you're going to burn them to death. Then we play 1 copy of Cyframe Lord Omega because it's limited to 1. This, you basically, let's say you activate, for example, let's say you activate Toon Bookmark, and they try to Ash Blossom Bookmark. You get to special summon Gamma from your hand, and you get to summon Driver from your deck. And then you get to, since you used Gamma, you negated the effect, you destroyed the card, so you actually get to resolve the Toon Bookmark. So you'll search whatever you want, and then you'll have these 2 on the field, and you can actually use these 2 to make an Omega, and then you can use the Omega to banish a card out of your opponent's hand, or just keep it there. And then since Omega's at 1, we actually play 1 copy of Zeta. This card basically lets you banish itself and one of your opponent's monsters, which again can be useful sometimes, but its levels are a little weirder, so you have to be careful. So we've got that, and then on top of that, we play 1 copy of Artifact Dagda. It's just a generic link too, but also if you want to play like a artifact engine in your side deck, that could be useful. 1 Borreload Dragon, just getting over big monsters. 1 Millenniumize Restrict. We can play this again because we have the extra deck space, so you just summon this off of Instant Fusion, and then you have protection against hand traps or monster effects. It's, you know, either way. Then we've got Thousand Eyes Restrict, again going second, we just steal a monster, it's extremely useful. And then the rest are all Super Poly targets, so we play 2 Starving Venom. You can actually, I've actually included a lot more of these than I usually would, in terms of variety. Like, I included a large variety to just show you what you can play. You can actually cut these to whatever ratios you want. one Predaplan, basically Predaplan Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. But basically this is 3 Dark Monsters, Warlord Furious Dragon. This is basically just any 2 Dark Dragons, so it's good against guard dragons. It can help wipe out something like Warlord Savage Dragon and maybe the Caboral Sword. It's pretty good. World Chalice, Guard Dragon, what is that? Almaruk. This is basically any 3 Link monsters can wipe a huge board. Nether Soul Dragon against any zombie deck or Eldritch. And then we've got Diplexer Chimera against any Cybers deck, but mainly the Salamangreats. But that's basically it. Yeah, I hope you enjoyed this deck. I certainly have been enjoying just testing this deck. It's incredibly, incredibly fun. I just can't believe how fun it is. And like I said, I like it going second because so many of the effects are only valid going second. Like so many of the cards just have no use going first. Might as well just play it second. But yeah, give it a try. Let me know what you think. And have a terrific day, guys. Subscribe if you enjoyed the video.